didn't cut you off there. You're going to have to bear with me here. That's what happens when you're, you know, I don't know. This phone keeps going in and out. The battery doesn't last long sometimes. It's a Razr phone that can only be hooked up through Verizon. Which, by the way, I'll tell you the story about Verizon. Let me see if I can't get over to the side. I gotta find somewhere where I can pass. And this phone is not hooked up, so no calls come to this phone. I have another phone that is not a smartphone because of Verizon. And I don't like to talk wrong about anyone, but they treated me unfairly. Boy, this grass is deep. See if I can't get down this hill, get going some speed, get through some of this grass. I'll tell you my little Verizon story. Basically, I can start now. I bought this phone because I called Verizon. And I didn't have good credit, just like the majority of Americans nowadays. But I called Verizon and asked them if I can get an account with them. Out of the brochure from one of the branches. Okay, I'm crossing over. Right up here. God hopes there's no ditch. I'm gonna eat, you know, crap. Okay, let's do it right now. Woo! That was fun. Look at there, crossed right into a pretty bank area. Oh, thank you, Lord, for me making that. Get off that freeway. Adjust my water bottle again that keeps falling out. Okay. So anyway, I call up Verizon's corporate office. I get a sales rep on the phone. I tell him I want an account. He says, okay, well, I'm gonna need your personal information. You know, I figured I'd have to buy a 2-year contract. So I trusted him and gave him my personal information, my social security number, my address, everything. And he looked it up, and he called me back and told me I was approved. Not only was I approved, but I was approved up to 5 phones. Okay? And they all were only going to cost $99 a piece. Well, a friend of mine had this Verizon phone here, and he was going to sell it to me for 50 bucks, or, you know, even less than that, actually, I paid. But he didn't have Verizon service anymore. And the reason why I wanted Verizon is because, again, I was thinking about traveling. It's got the best network. It's got the fastest internet. And, well, so they say. And so I bought the phone from my friend. I called him back because I was looking at the other phones. I was going to get my parents, my mom and dad, one too, because their credit wasn't very good for co-signing for me and my other 2 brothers. Their credit had turned into nothing. Okay, so I call him back. I tell him, okay, I want 2 phones, and I have a Razr that I'd like to connect. That came with a blank SIM card. He says, no problem. I'll get that order processed for you. So I was going to get one of the Samsung Galaxies, right? And anyway, he processes the order. He tells me that the phones are in the mail and I should receive them within a week. And that my phone, since it had a blank SIM card and everything, was being connected immediately. And it was. And I was approved. And everything was okay. And he even asked me security questions, like, have I made any purchases, major purchases in the last year? Did I buy any vehicles? Stuff like that. And he had my social security and ran my credit, okay? All right, well, he did all this. Everything was great, right? Nope. I had my phone going. The week went by. My mom and dad never received their phones. I call them back, and I ask them, hey, I told them, hey, they didn't receive any phones. He said, well, unfortunately, there's some security issues with their phones, and instead of having one order for all three of the phones, instead of getting 5 phones, I only got 3. Instead of having one order for all 3 of the phones, he put in 2 orders. And my mom and dad's phones didn't go through, and I needed to call the security office. Well, or he told me they didn't go through at that point, which, and he was going to try and work it out. So another week went by. Little do you know, over a month went by. I had my phone activated. I bought this phone because I was approved. I had a number. I told all my friends about my number. I put all my personal information, contact list, everything in this Verizon phone here. Okay, and was using it. Internet, got Netflix, got NFL Sunday, put apps on it, the whole 9 yards, purchased, you know. And then again, went out to my friends and gave them my new number. Well, I call them back and say, hey, my mom and dad still hasn't gotten their phones. What's going on? He says, well, there's some security issues, and I need you to call this branch number or a corporate number. So, my mom and dad are really upset now. It's been a month. They haven't received their phones. I told them they were getting phones. My dad was just getting a simple phone because he doesn't like all the high-tech stuff. And my mom, and I couldn't afford it, and my mom was getting one of the Samsung Galaxies, which, for her, okay? So, and I was showing them all the special features of the phone that I had, you know, getting them all into it. Well, I call up the security department, and they tell me that my mom and dad's phones did not go through because they need to verify who I am. And I told them that I already went through that process over the phone. He asked me security questions. I gave him all my personal information. And on top of that, they told me that if I didn't go in and give them my driver's license and prove who I was, that my phone was going to get disconnected. Well, needless to say, look, I do what I say and I say what I do. My dad taught me to look a man in the eye, and if I tell him I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. The only thing you have in this world, son, is what he said, is your word and your balls. And that's all you can take, you know, that's all you have. Nothing else matters to be a man. If you don't have your word, you're not a man. And I live by that. Well, I'm not a saint. I'm not out here pretending to be a saint. I'm a sinner. I've done everything wrong, and I've gotten into trouble with the law, and I had my license suspended. So therefore, I didn't have a license. Not only I did not have a license, but my birth certificate, I only had a copy of my birth certificate, so I couldn't get a license without going. I was born in San Diego, California. Certificate, go to the DPS, give them that, and 3 verifications of address, a bill in my name, this in my name, whatever. Which I found that out when I actually went to the DPS office with the copy of my birth certificate and my mother and father, and they both have IDs, and they would not give me an identification card. Okay? So, therefore, I couldn't get an identification. So I told them, called them back, hey, I'm not going to be able to get this identification in time. They requested a certain amount of days, and I requested it to be longer. You know? Nope. They cut my phone off. They cut my phone off. Now, does that seem right? That I trust them with all my personal information. I answer all the questions. They tell me I'm approved. Then they turn around, renege on their offer, make me jump through more hoops, and then disconnect my phone? No, that doesn't seem right at all. I trust them. They should trust me. And then for the DPS office, which, you know, maybe I can understand that a little bit, but to have my mother and father there, to have their, which my father has the same exact name as me, okay? And I had the copy of my birth certificate, and we had the address where my mom and dad lived. I was staying with them at the time. But no, they wouldn't help either. So they cut the phone off after I purchased the phone and did all that stuff. They turned it off. They never sent me the other phones. And I called and complained. And who are you going to complain to? Where's the recourse for the little man? Again, you know, what am I going to do? Get a lawyer? What am I going to do? Call, you know, some cell phone wireless division when I need a phone right then and there? Now, and I'm already out of money. I've already put my name out there. I've already told my friends, and now my phone gets disconnected. What do I look like? You know, what does my name look like? Oh, it's very upsetting to me. I got conned, and I just think that that is unfair. That's unjust. You know, if you can't tell me I'm approved and then turn it on, let me have the phone for over a month and then turn it off. You know? And let me purchase Netflix and all this other stuff. And oh, by the way, they sent me a bill in the mail. The bill was for $100 and something. Okay? I paid the bill. I paid the bill for my phone that was sent to my address. Okay, my mom and dad's house. I paid it, and then they turned it off still. So I don't owe them any money. You know? So, therefore, when that happened, I decided not to go with Verizon anymore. But I've been unable to go with another company. I didn't want to go through that hassle again. So I went to Cricket and got a basic phone until I could get on my feet and afford it, because they didn't have the deals at the time or whatever. But I got a Cricket phone, and that's where I'm at. So I have this Verizon phone that I am using to travel because it has all the nice functions, and I basically go to McDonald's or somewhere that has Wi-Fi connection and connect to the internet through the Wi-Fi on the phone. Other than that, I can't use the phone, I can't use the internet. So, you tell me if that's just. I don't think so. And if anyone out there wants to take that up and help me, I would appreciate it. God bless, you know. But that's my Verizon story for you. And it's 100% true. Now, I'm coming up on an exit. I'm pretty safe here, so I'm going to get to the stop and then the rest stop, and then I'll plug you in and get back to you later. All right? God bless y'all. Be safe.